So I had a really interesting letter and it sparked up a subject that I really wanted to share with you, and it was about hearing a man's no. So I had a letter from a lady who said that really basically my husband had an affair, and we have been sort of trying to work through the relationship, and we've got to a point where I'd asked him if he would go for counselling, couple counselling, and he said no. And I've been asking him again and again, and he's sort of reluctantly been saying, well, maybe we'll think about it. But actually, when it really comes to it, I end up going to the sessions on my own. Now, this is a big one. I can relate to this one. And what this is all about is hearing his no. Men say no. We all say no in very different ways. Sometimes it's a really clear no, and we say the word or we hear the word no. And sometimes it's in his action or his inaction. So with this particular lady who wrote to me, my questions to her would be, what are you ignoring? What have you been ignoring? And what are you not hearing? So by hearing his no, and he said no to her, I don't want to go to counselling, and he's refusing to go. So she's gone round the houses, she's been trying to convince him that they should go, threatening to leave if he won't go, but actually really wanting the relationship to work and really, really working at it. But there comes a time when it's far more powerful to just hear his no, as uncomfortable as it is. Not hearing a man's no might look like you're constantly fighting him, constantly locking horns with him. He might not want to do something and we're trying to convince him. So it's my friend's wedding, and I really want my man to come, and he says no. This isn't my situation, but this is a situation that comes up. So what's the first thing we do is we try to convince him. We are, well, why don't you come? We always go to these things together. I'm going to miss you. My friends are going to wonder why you're not there. So we can try and convince him. But all that does is he may give in and he may say, yeah, I'll come and I'll be there with you. But actually, he may not be fully there and he may not be fully present. So who really wants to drag a reluctant man around? You know, I know for me and my clients, we want our man to be there right by our side because he really, really wants to be there. But when we're trying to convince him, when we're trying to convince him that he needs to do this and that we're absolutely right, he's not feeling trusted. And a man needs to feel trusted and not controlled, because all this convincing, all this cajoling, all of these reasons why we think he should be a yes, not a no, is about control. And a man needs to feel the space to make his own decision, even if we think whatever decision he's making isn't the right one, even if we think we're always right, even if we know we're always right. Even that, knowing we're always right, is controlling. And it's really not going to get what we need with a man. So another way a man may say no without actually saying no is he may, if you're dating a man early on, you know, the chemistry is exciting, it feels really good, none of you can do any wrong, and you may be sharing with him that you're really up for marriage, you're really up for children, and he may have said in conversation, yeah, you know, I've sort of had my babies now, and he may have teenagers. He may have kind of mentioned about marriage not being important to him, just in conversation. You may not have had that straight conversation. Now, you know, I really want children. Are we on the same page? So he's still seeing you. He's still sleeping with you. He's still taking you out. He's still spending time with you. But he, in his own way, he is saying no. He's saying no to marriage. He's saying no to children. And the question to ask yourself again is, what am I ignoring? Because many women, they'll be with a man months, years, decades, waiting for him to come round to what she wants. So how does this get you what you need? By hearing a man's no. Okay, so if you go normally to your sister's every Sunday for lunch, and one day he says, no, I don't want to go to your sister's for lunch. And you've tried the controlling, you've tried the convincing and all of that, and that's worked in getting him there for the last 6 months. But this time he says no. How would it be if you just said, oh, I feel sad about that, but okay, I get it. And then you just go. What could be different? Now, he's had an opportunity to either miss you, do his own thing, do something he enjoys more than going to your sister's for lunch. So one of two things can happen. So you can come back together and actually he really wants to be around you. He's missed you. He may even decide that he wants to come to your sister's next week. And if he does, he's going to be really there. And another thing can happen when you really hear a man's no. So say there's this lady who wrote to me about the counselling, and she's given me permission to share that actually what really happened for her, she heard his no, and by hearing his no, she heard her own no. And what her no said was no to a relationship with someone who won't communicate. No to a relationship with someone who's not prepared to feel a certain level of discomfort for the relationship, i.e., going and talking about it with a counsellor. So that is a pretty big no to feel, because we can hear all sorts of stuff up in our heads. And in our heads, our voice in our heads can be very clear, very loud. It's almost like the voice of our parents, the logical voice that says, well, maybe he will want children at some point once he falls in love with me. Or maybe he will get the counselling with me once I've really convinced him and shown him what a great catch I am and what an amazing wife I am and whatever. But it's the voice of our gut feeling. And women, our gut feeling and our instincts are what are going to, that's the voice we need to listen to about these really, really important things. So when this lady really heard her no, it became really, really easy for her to leave the relationship, because what she wants to say yes to is communication, team, partnership. Someone who's willing to put themselves on the line for the relationship. That's a pretty amazing no to hear. So hearing his no can really have you hear your own no. And whether that be, if he doesn't come to your sister's for Sunday lunch and he actually never really wants to do anything with you as a couple, maybe he doesn't want to come to the weddings, maybe he doesn't come out socially, maybe he just goes fishing every weekend and doesn't spend time with you. So then what have you been ignoring? Have you been ignoring your own no? No, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't share time with me, and share time with my family, share time with my friends. That is my no. And this gives you information about yourself, information about you, what you really want. So this can come with a man you're married to, it can come with ex-husbands. You want him to communicate about when he's picking up the children. You get angry about it. Why don't you communicate with me about it? Why don't you tell me when you're coming, when you're not? After a while, you just got to hear his no. He's not going to do it. If he's not doing it and you've tried all the convincing and all the cajoling, if he's not going to do it, he's not going to do it. hear his no. So I hope this has been helpful to you. There's really a hell of a lot of power in that. And do get in touch with me, and let me know how this is for you, and if you have any more questions. And on my website, you can go naomithompsoncoaching.com, and I have a free download, so do be sure and go and get it. Take care, everyone. Bye.